Amsterdam, rapping. Yeah, whatever, I'm leaving this on. Hey everybody, so I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the PA interview process. It is a crazy process. Once you get through the application cycle and you hit submit on your applications, you want to take a deep breath and you want to just coast, but that's when you really have to prep for probably the next hurdle, and that is the interview. You don't want to go into that without prepping a lot. Um, Fortunately for me, I took a little bit of time off after I submitted my applications, and then I knew that in order to do well, I was going to have to really prep for these interviews and do a really solid job in order to nail it. These schools really want to make sure that you are the same person, if not a better person, than the one that they're reading about on your CASPA. So even if you sound like the most perfect person, the most perfect applicant on the CASPA, and they get to know you and they're not very impressed, then there goes your chance to get in. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit how to nail it. You don't know where to start to prep for the interview, and that's totally fine. This is not a regular job interview. Like when you go into this interview, you need to know inside and out the school, the PA profession, and most importantly, you need to know about yourself. So it's a lot, but what really did it for me was looking at the 46 most common PA interview questions. I'll put a link down below. You guys can look at it. The best thing you could do with it is copy and paste those questions into a Word document. And for each question, write out in quotes exactly what you want to say. It could be a brain dump at first, and then you can go back and kind of make it a little more concise. Even though you're not going to say word for word what you're typing, it's going to help you prepare and think about the big things that you want to mention. And it's really helpful to take some time in the comfort of your own home to think about the answers to these questions instead of being in the interview already amped up on stress and having to think of a solid response. Off of that, the second thing is you really want to study the school's website, their mission statement, and it also helps to memorize, well, not memorize, but just be familiar with the general program and even the curriculum. A lot of schools put up the curriculum so you know exactly how many credits you're going to take per semester. And being able to incorporate some tidbits of information about the school in some of your responses during the interview, even if the question isn't regarding the school specifically, if you're able to like sprinkle them in there, um, it shows the interviewers that you really did your time. You really want to go to this school. You took the time to read the website, study it, analyze it, and really think about how you would be able to fit into that environment in the school. And when you're prepping for these interviews to begin, definitely get some information on how the school conducts their interviews. Be prepared for anything. So they could throw you a group interview, they could throw you a mini interview where it's you go around to different stations and you're on a time limit and you have to answer different questions with different interviewers. Um, Definitely prepared to write an essay and the one-on-ones. So 4 different types: group, one-on-one, essay, and mini interviews. Most common is probably going to be the essay and the one-on-one. Not so much the group and the mini interviews, but I was told exactly how my first school was going to conduct it. They said in an email, "Okay, you're gonna have to write an essay first, and then you're gonna have to do a one-on-one, and then we're gonna put you in a group, and we're gonna assess you during a group interview." So I was like, "Okay," so I prepared for that. But my second school, they didn't tell me anything, so I figured, okay, maybe it's just an essay and one-on-one. And I was totally wrong. They actually gave me an essay, and then they threw me into the mini interview station scenario, which I was okay with because I already did the first interview, so I was already confident. And even though I didn't do the mini interviews during my first school's interview, I was able to handle it. But if that was my first experience in a PA school interview and I was throwing the mini interview thing, definitely would have been a little more difficult of a time. And I definitely did a solid job, but I wish that looking back, I erred on the side of caution and said, hey, you know what? They might throw that at me, the mini interviews, so I'm going to prep. Um, so I would definitely go back and practice all 4 scenarios if you're not sure. When you're getting all of your formulated responses down to the common questions, trying to figure out if you're in a solid place, it helps tremendously to do a mock interview. So I was able to find someone online. It's actually called the PA platform, and I'll also put the link in the description. They were able to conduct an interview with me over Skype. It lasted about an hour, and I was told exactly how I was doing from someone that went through the interview process, and she is a PA student. So she was able to really dissect my responses and tell me what I could do better and what I did really well. Um, I also went into it not really preparing for it as I would the actual interview. So even though I did the formulated responses, I didn't really like practice them too much. But I was like, I just want to get a baseline for how I'm going to do. So that was really helpful. And I did pretty well. So I knew that after she told me that, if I just put in the time to really solidify my responses, I was going to be set. But aside from that, no matter if you do the mock interview through that platform or if you do it with a experienced PA or an experienced student, it's so great. And then you get that additional confidence and they give you great advice. I've heard about people telling other people going in for the interview, like, oh, yeah, you should practice. It doesn't matter who you practice with. You can practice with your mom, your dad, your dog. Like, as long as you practice, it's totally fine. But I kind of disagree with that. If you practice with your mom, say, she's not going to be able to tell you, like, oh, yeah, in a PA school interview, they're going to be looking for this or this. They're just going to give you general advice based on, like, maybe a typical job interview. And this is not a typical job interview. So if that's your only option, definitely do it. But it definitely helps to be able to go that extra step and do it with someone who's been through this process because it's a crazy process. My tips for when you're getting down to the wire and you're beginning to really prepare to go on your common questions, on your formulated responses, definitely highlight the big key things that you want to mention during your interview in each response. So for me, had like I write a lot. So for each question, I wrote a lot of stuff, but I knew wasn't gonna be able to memorize all that. So I just went through and highlighted the major points that I wanted to make in each one. So don't worry about memorizing your full response that you made. If you memorize the big points that you want to make, then the rest is going to flow naturally and you're not going to have those awkward pauses. I promise. I did not. I was able to remember those big points and work off of that. Another thing is come up with like one, two, or three things even that you really want the interviewers to know about yourself. Um, there are things where you're going to say, if I leave today, I definitely want to be sure that they know this about me, this, and this. For me, I only had one thing. I really have a huge passion for fitness and nutrition, and that stemmed from me actually losing a lot of weight myself in high school. So ever since that's been a huge part of my life, and I felt like it really showcased my determination and grit to do things and set goals for myself. Um, when I did mention this during my interview, the interviewers, you could tell, were like, wow, that's really cool. Like, they haven't heard that from another person that they've been interviewing. It helps them remember who you are when they go back through and decide who they're going to take. So, definitely try to sprinkle some cool facts about yourself in there so that they can remember you and set you apart from the other people that they're interviewing that day. Um, Also, another thing is a really cool tip I learned watching another YouTube video. The girl said, wear school colors in your interview outfit. And I was like, you know what? That's a really cool idea. That's like subliminal messaging. And I tried it. So I got a blouse in the color of the first school, which was dark green. And I got a red blouse for the second school. And I got a statement necklace that I wore with each blouse. I'll put the Snapchat photo of the first interview. I didn't take a screenshot of my second interview attire, but it was the same thing, but with the red blouse. And I also wore a gold belt. So I had the statement necklace, I had the gold belt, and I had the blouse in the school colors with my black interview jacket. And when you go in, everyone's going to be in 99% of people are going to be in a black interview suit, which you have to wear. You have to wear black. Well, you can wear gray or black or whatever, but it has to be a suit. So when I went in, I was in the sea of black suits, and everyone around me was wearing just neutral blouses, like white, gray, whatever. But I felt like I really stood out in a really good way with my the extra step I made to wear it school colors and dress it up with personal touches like the necklace. Um, so even if the interviewers don't really realize that you're wearing school colors, it'll set you apart from people. And if they do notice, that just contributes to the research that you did on the school. And I felt like an additional boost of confidence when I did that. It was pretty cool. On the day of the interview, get there early. So my interview started, the first one started at 8 a.m. I got there at 7:30 and I just sat in the parking lot, just like chilled out, just read through some of my responses, but I didn't even do that much. I kind of just like looked around campus, just relaxed, try to get that mindset in that I was going to do this. It was going to be great. After, actually, fun fact, I got out of my car, walked to the interview building where they were having it, and it was upstate New York, so it was so icy, it was so snowy, and I was wearing these platform shoes. I totally wiped out on my butt in the parking lot. Yeah. So I was like, great, this day's gonna go so great. I just fell on my butt in front of the rest of the applicants in the parking lot, and I probably have dirt and snow on my butt. This is great. But fortunately, that was just like an additional, just a slight error that happened during that day because the rest of the day went great. So my mom called it a, what was it? A good luck butt bump or good luck fall. So I was like, yeah, you know what? That's pretty cool. Um, anyway, sorry about my tangent. If you just take the time to get there early, you're going to be able to find somewhere to park. You're going to know where to go, so you're not rushing to another building if you find out that you're in the wrong parking lot and you're running late. And just being able to sit in your car and relax really does wonders for you. It really does. And you don't have to worry about being late because you're already there, and you can kind of assess like who's getting out of their car, where people are going, and it gives you a great mindset. It just does. So definitely try to do that. And if you can, going back, so if you arrive for the interview, say you fly in, you drive 5 hours, whatever, and you just want to go to the hotel and sleep before this interview, I totally get it. I want to do the same thing. I drove 3.5 hours to my first school. So even though I wanted to go to the hotel, I just went straight to the school. I figured out exactly where I had to park on the day of my interview, exactly the building I had to go to, so I didn't have to worry about the next day. And that was a huge stress relief come interview day because your mind is in 1,000 different places. The last thing you want to worry about is where to go. And it's going to shave off a ton of time so you can get there early. So definitely carve out the time to do that the day before your interview. Other than that, guys, just, it's like everyone's going to tell you the same thing when I say this, but just be yourself. And you should be honored that you got this far. Schools only select 10 to 20% of the applicant pool to come for interviews. So don't worry about whether you're going to get in or get rejected after the interview. Just be like, you know what? They read about me on paper and they really want to get to know me, and I'm going to show them that I am that same person or even a better person than the one that they read about. So you have what it takes. You really do. Just prove that you can do it and prove that you can handle the workload, and you're going to be all set. So have a great time with it. I had a lot of fun. Um, Looking back, I didn't want to leave those interviews because they were really fun, and it's fun to visualize yourself at that school as a PA student, and it's a really great experience. So cherish it. Don't freak out too much. Just learn a lot from it, and you'll be all set. So good luck, guys. And if you have any additional questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want, you can post them down below in the comments, and then I'll try to get back to you. So take care. Good luck. See you later.